Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. We are live. Let me just make sure everything. Leo is here. Let me just make sure everything's working okay. It's been a day here,
Let
I
me
tell
just
you.
make sure everything's
Oh,
working
yep.
okay.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
Sweet. Oh, I forgot to
I made
post.
I made some little banners.
Ooh.
Ooh, woo.
Oh. Well, I'm currently reading The Say No to the Duke by Eloisa James.
Oh. I wonder if I have that. I don't know if I have that. I have one of them, but what
That's
am I reading? Uh oh, I am reading can you stop please, sir? Gosh. I'm like 30% of the way through Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen. It's the KJ Charles that's coming out um next week.
okay.
Next week, the
You
week
listen to the,
after.
is that audio or an ebook?
It yeah, it's a NetGalley arc.
Oh,
So,
okay. There you go.
yeah.
That's cool.
Hi, Morgan. I saw this earlier and you
Hi.
scared me. I thought I was live when I wasn't live.
Freak out.
Freak out. So, do you want to just get on into it? We can get into it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
well,
with,
what's more than we Oh, you're rating? Okay, go ahead.
what are you rating it? What are you
I'm
rating
actually
Tender
gonna
Rebel?
rate 4 stars. Four
You're gonna rate
stars.
it 4 stars?
hmm I
I
actually, I actually liked it a lot, the first one.
I think I'm at a 4 stars too.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot better than the first one. A lot better.
I could tell
But I had
definitely
that.
that yeah, I
No,
could
go
tell
ahead,
she
go
like
ahead.
grew as a writer since the last one. Like it must have been some time. Like she definitely grew as a writer. You can tell the difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was a little less hectic. Like it felt a little less crazy, I guess,
Just
but not in a bad way. I don't know. I will say the beginning of the book, like the first 35%, I felt like I was missing something. Like, because I felt like all she did was talk about like whether she needs to get married and who she needs to get married to and whether she wants to be married. And then he's like, well, I'll marry you. And then she's like, no, I don't want you, but you can help me get married. It was a whole lot of marriage stuff. And
Yeah, and I actually made notes this time. I mean,
did
who
you
am I?
did you
I don't
make a
know who I
list?
am.
Did you
I
make a
made
list?
Yes. And I realized I'm like, why is she like having to get married? I'm like, and she made some promise to her grandfather, but I'm like, okay, but why? And I'm like, it's because her cousin Jordy was gonna try to force her to get married either way. So that's why she wanted to get married in a rush on her own terms. So
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well,
And
like,
he like
okay, that makes sense.
and apparently is kidnapping Joanna Lindsay's thing because there's so much kidnapping again.
I think it's like a theme in like a lot of bodice rippers, like highway, like there's a highway robbery in this one. I'm like, it's just that kind of like hijinks and action type bonkers, bonkers kind of stuff.
That highway
But it's
robbery
funny
scene.
that it's like, yeah, two kidnaps this time.
This was only two.
Only two though. What was it
Only
last
two.
time? Like three,
Three, four.
three, four? I don't
There
know.
were so many
Lost
kidnaps in the
count.
last one. That highway robbery scene made me laugh because I love when he's all, "Oh, it's your first time." It made me think of some movie that says that. And he's like
Oh
being
yeah, like
hanged and
first
he's
time.
like, "Yeah, oh, your first time."
Yes, first time.
Okay, you want
I
to know
remember
what my
that meme
first
was going on during the pandemic. Yeah. Sorry,
you
go ahead.
remember my first note on this book is Anthony is out of control, wanting to take her immediately on a railing. Like he said to get on
Wow.
a
Yeah.
railing. And he
Oh yeah, like she was almost falling off to her
yeah,
death. I'm like, okay,
I
dang,
can't.
we went dark.
I was like, he's like, hold on. I'm like,
And then
Of
she
course.
didn't realize, I guess James interrupted them. So
Yeah. And then I got
I was like, that.
like confused because his other brother like made out with her too. And then I'm like, okay, who's the love interest in this? I thought it was Anthony.
Mhm.
But then that was like a one-time thing.
Apparently, it's like a competition between the brothers is getting, who can win the person, I guess.
Yeah. And then oh, my next note was tongue in the belly button.
And that
Is
makes
that a thing?
I didn't know that was a thing. I heard of like people doing like shots and like that and doing,
Yeah, like I've heard of shot,
drinking
but
at like
like your tongue in the belly? Is that an erogenous zone? I didn't know that. Yeah. I liked so he compromises her. Oh, I liked that when he compromises her, he steals her clothes so that way she won't run away from him while he goes to get the special license.
he's
Oh,
thinking
that's
ahead.
smart. Smart.
Mm.
Oh, there was a lot of really good moments in this book that really made me laugh. Like after I got through that like 30% of the time where I was confused, then I was just like, I love this.
It was just I think I liked the hero this time, so I like really liked Anthony this time because like if I don't like the hero, it's really kind of like not fun. But yeah, I think I liked him a lot because he's just like not letting her get away with her shenanigans. And I think
No.
that
And I especially loved when he brought Jordy, the guy that who was trying to like steal her. He just brought him home one day and he's like, there she is, go get her because she wasn't cooperating with him. So she's like, what? It was great. It was great. You know what? I didn't like the heroine though. I could do without the heroine.
it was at the same time it kind of made sense. And like and James mentioned it in the book that like he kind of explained why they were having this disagreement. It all stems this big thing was because of miscommunication. And he's like, you have to understand, she's a new bride. She's basically immature. Her immaturity, she has no idea, really, experience with relationships. So she immediately jumps to conclusions and is jealous because she sees that hair on his shoulder and doesn't believe him. He said, like, she was more angry because he lied to her, that she felt like he lied to her when it would have been easier expecting him to just, have an affair or something like that. So I
Yeah,
think it's just that kind of like bait and switch. She felt like she was bait and switch, I think.
and she just always assumed he would want to be a rake forever. And he's like, no, if I say I'm gonna marry you, I'm gonna be with you, not somebody else. But she kept like forcing it and forcing it, even when he's like, I'm right here. She just wouldn't believe it.
Hmm. And
And then
you could definitely tell, like, yeah, they like break down in communication. He shuts down, and she just gets the typical heroine. She gets angry, and like
mhm.
he was recognizing what she was doing. So
Yes,
it's like, well,
yes.
then if you know what's going on, and it was a lot of pride inside. Like he
Mhm.
didn't want to have to repeat himself, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
So
he already
crazy.
told her. He's like, I'm here and I'll marry you. And no, I don't want to be with anyone other than you. We're going to make this a real marriage. And she's like, no, you're not. And I think he just gets tired of repeating himself over. So he's like, fine, I'm going to go to the club and drink my face off. There wasn't a lot of pirate stuff on here. Wasn't he the pirate, though?
No, James is,
Oh,
and I think
James is
that's
the
the third
pirate.
one.
Oh, he's the
And
third
it
one.
was his yeah, and this is why I think you got to see more of the dynamic because James is back now in this one. So he's back on land temporarily. And so yeah, I think that's kind of cool that you get to see that more.
I do like the
But
dynamic with the brothers. I
hmm
love every scene that they're
although
in together.
although a couple times I had to remind myself that I'm like, this is a different time, Crystal. I'm like,
Oh,
red flag, stop it.
with with what
Their
scene?
comments. Well, their
Oh,
comments about like the heroine are just like, yep, the times.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
like misogyny, but it's okay.
Such
I
misogyny, but
remember
that's
the
all right. It's
period.
okay. It's all right.
That's okay. It's a good time
It's a
period.
little misogyny. It's okay.
Okay. Like,
We're
okay.
just gonna forget about that. It's okay. You just gotta kind of glance over it. You have to like you definitely have to think that these are written. This one's in the 80s, right? Like this one was
It's
80
like,
something.
and it's funny because even the difference of, I think, because I remember reading, I think I read this one, as I said before, I probably read this before. I'm like, even back then, I didn't really recognize it because even 10 years ago, it was a totally different space than we have now. So it's kind
Hmm.
of interesting to see, even after rereading it, how much your perception has changed in that kind of era and writing and such. So it's
And
just funny.
I feel like that's why maybe like you and I, the age we are, we're a little bit more forgiving of it because that's just how it like that's just
Was.
certainly how it was. Was it right? No, 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 it wasn't right. But it was just not really focused on at all.
Yeah, and at the same time, like women back then, like couldn't even own property or buy things.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, I still remember like it's still second class citizens during the time. So and that's why I think I like historical romances is because they're able to get their power in different ways. They have to be a little bit more intelligent about how they do it and where they do have exert their power where they do have it. So, but yeah,
Hmm.
so I didn't mean to get so deep, but like, yeah,
It's all right. It's all right. Well,
like,
this
hey,
is
we're getting so
the
in
time
deep.
period of this book is early 1800s or late 1800s. I forgot.
Mm,
I know
I
I don't have the
thought
book.
it was 18,
Well, I can look at this one.
1818. So like same time as like
Okay,
Bridgerton
early.
time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Georgian, what's it called? Not Georgian period. Probably around the Georgian period, I think is what it's called.
I go
But
by
around the Bridgerton
the
times.
I go by the heaving bosoms time periods, and that's just England times. It's
Yeah,
all
like it
England
threw
times.
me off because the one I'm reading right now, it's like set, 1700s. So it's like late 1700s. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'd shift my brain on that's where this
That's
time period is.
that's earlier?
Like the big, yeah, it's like the big dresses and the wigs and everything. So,
Oh, wow. Wow. So Anthony, like you like him,
hmm
I like him. I love that he
hmm
feels like after a while he just lives to make her angry. Like that, like he's just doing it out of spite now. Like he's like picking at her every chance he gets, and he loves when she gets angry.
and that's like, isn't that like what a lot of I hear guys like to do? It's just because you get all like flushed and things like that, and like you're sexy when you're angry or something like, like what, like yeah, you won't think so if I murder you. Like,
Yeah, let me get a knife and let's see if you still think that way.
yeah, right. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
he was just. I loved when he started playing with her, though. I honestly loved it. Wouldn't like it in real life. It would irritate the crap
It's
out of me, but love it in
I
books.
think it's because it's yeah, it's like real. It also was realistic because that's how women and men are sometimes. And
Mhm.
they're it's like I want you to know why I'm upset, but I'm not gonna say why because I'm too prideful of saying why what it is or whatever it is. But it's just like I know it's like the miscommunication trope, which is not like my favorite, but it's at the same time it's like it's true. Men and women don't talk to each other the way they need to sometimes talk to each other. So it's very
Well, it's still
evident, I think, in this one.
yeah, and it's still patriarchy, right? Like men don't have feelings. We don't talk about those things. And then, women don't have rights. So you're gonna do what I say no matter what.
I own you. I'm like, and like you, I'm your, I think that's also a part of it as well because she's an heiress, and the whole money thing, um, is what was it with Jordy? He told like Anthony told a lie to Jordy saying that, well, I burned it and I actually own on her all of her fortune. Um, but in reality, like he actually has his own fortune,
Mm-hmm.
and then she has her fortune, and she's going into the bank to give him an allowance and everything. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
his allowance.
oh,
Yeah.
dang, that's a
He's
lot of
like,
money.
it's like I'm richer than sin.
I'm like, no, I don't really need your money. So like it also proves to her, I think, that like I don't need your money. So I married you because I wanted to marry you, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So
And that's
yeah.
why Jordy
So that's
wanted to marry her for her money, basically, because they're like cousins, right? They're
right.
like the distant, one of those distant cousin things.
Yeah, well, hold on.
Like, whoa, did I talk to you like that? Uh-oh. I hope your tablet didn't die. Mine's still doing good. Oh, until she comes back. One of my other favorite parts of this book is that she says if she gives him her heart, she's gonna cut it up into little pieces before she gives it back. She's just like dug her heels in so deep that she doesn't want to like him, but of course she does, and it's just my favorite. I don't know what happened to Crystal. Oh, hopefully she didn't die. Well, we can chat though. It's okay. Leo is over here. He has his little tootsie. He's like, "Don't touch me, mom." Okay, his tail's poking out. Anyways, if you're just, I see Morgan is here. Where is my mouse? Okay. So Crystal and I read Tender Rebel by Johanna Lindsey, and she should be coming back hopefully. Technical difficulties. And we both really liked it. We both gave it 4 stars. Here she comes.
Okay. What a way to find out that your charger thing does not work where it's charging at.
Whoa!
Your outlet does not work on that one. Thanks, man.
Oh, I hate that. I
Thanks,
hate that.
thanks for that test of technology today. Okay.
That's all right. That's all right. I was just saying there was another part that I really liked to this. And when she says if she has his heart, she's gonna cut it up into little pieces before she gives it back to him.
Ruthless.
Ruthless. But you know what? Those few times that she would make those comments, that's the only time I liked her. Otherwise, I felt like she was just like a clueless heroine that she's just so frustrating. She's so frustrating, and I can see why Anthony was frustrated with her so many times.
Yeah, I think that it's just, yeah, it just still to me like I didn't like her as much, but at the same time, I understood like I could see myself in her as when I was first starting my first relationship, how
Mhm.
immature I was, and I like how I would get so I was so insecure. I'm like I could understand like you're just you're so inexperienced on relationships that way that you're just like I didn't have my first relationship at like 19, so that's like I was a little older too. So it's just one of
Yeah,
those things that I think it's very indicative of when, and at the same time, like how else was she to know in that time period? There's no way for her unless she wants, to have her reputation ruined if she,
true.
but yeah.
True.
So I find that kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't like her as much, but
It is hard for me with these older ones to be like, just say something. But you really were at that time in that period, just raised not to speak. Like you weren't, you're supposed to be a good little girl and do what you're told and, that kind of thing. So it's so hard for me sometimes with these older ones because especially in newer historicals, I mean, they speak up for themselves. The heroines are usually the ones moving the ball around. And
yeah.
I don't know. I can definitely tell the difference in these older ones, like this one, where the heroine
Oh.
really is like a damsel in distress, and I don't know. I still
Um,
really liked it
what
though.
Yeah, I didn't. I know. There was one comment about Jordy that was interesting because I was talking about like stabby stab kind of a thing. But I was like, Jordy. It sounded like the assumption that he killed her parent or his mom or her mom, even though he was just traumatized. Truly, you find out that all it was he was just traumatized by the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, like I guess his aunt dying, but I thought like at first the way the comments was like, well, it sounds like Jordy's a psychopath, and I'm like, sounds like he likes to hurt animals. I'm like, is he the start of a serial killer? Basically, what you're telling me?
Yeah, no wonder she doesn't want to marry you. I
Or,
wouldn't want
or
to marry
yeah.
the serial killer either.
And then like yeah,
Yeah.
when you find out at the end, you're like, well, then that kind of still doesn't redeem him exactly. I like understand like his trauma, it was just perception of him, but I was like, you did a lot of kidnapping of your cousin, man.
Mhm.
But yeah,
And how
yeah,
how how cousiny are these people? Like, can't be first cousins,
like
right? Like the
first
cousins,
cousins.
they're first
Yeah,
cousins.
that was the thing, especially with royalty too. It was just a thing back then.
That's just crazy to
Nowadays,
me.
it's gross. I mean, it's gross back then, but then back then it was normal.
Very, it's very gross. Like, I have a lot of cousins. I can guarantee you, I wouldn't want to marry any of them. What?
No, no.
You know the other light thing, like lamp?
Nope, I don't. Can you
Okay.
please leave? Thank you. Shut the door. This is my life. I never get any time to
Life of a mom.
myself.
Yeah. It's not as taboo outside of the US.
Hmm. Really? It's not?
So it's a thing. That's a thing.
Like in now times? I don't know. That's
Like,
just weird to me. I mean,
I'm just thinking of my cousins, like, no.
if it's like a marriage of convenience where you're just sharing wealth and you're not expected like to have children,
I
I
mean,
guess.
I think that's probably why they had so many weird, like, especially with the royalty back then, like the defects and such, because there's so much
Of course,
crossing
now
the
my
street.
dog's going crazy. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Come here, come here, come here. Okay, okay. You want to go out there? My gosh. Anytime anyone goes outside, my dog goes crazy. He's like, let me out there. Anyways, yeah. Oh, this book. I didn't have as many notes as last time. I will say it's only
Yeah,
like a tiny bit.
yeah, mine. I'm just like, I'm just doing a little bit here, but so there's two kidnaps. The first one was on purpose. The second one was an accident.
Yes.
He forgot to
One,
call them off, and he couldn't pay them.
yeah, one
And then a
highway
highway
robbery.
robbery.
One one almost death by getting impaled on a railing.
Oh yes, there's some risque, steamy fun
Some
times.
yes, some risque adult times.
And I guess
And
he tricked her to get there as well,
yes,
apparently.
a
Get her
lot
to
of
it's like a garden with like a
is it a
step
hedge
up
garden?
or something. I think it was
No.
like a garden, either outside in the garden or something where they were. I thought it was like a what's it called? Inside the house. It was attached to the house, kind of like a not like a
The
hot house, but like
orangery.
a orangery. Yeah,
Okay. Like the
like
little,
they have
yeah,
it like
like
Bridgerton. Yeah, the Bridgerton. Like they had the one there in Bridgerton season 2.
right. Yeah, she was always like, "Oh, no, don't take me." And then next thing you know, they're in bed together. And you're like, "Okay." I wouldn't believe anything she said either. Like, I don't,
Oh, the issues with yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, send it to me. I would really be curious because I feel like just very uneducated about this whole thing sometimes. Yeah. So, would you recommend this book?
Yeah, I would say Yes, but with like a grain of salt kind of a thing. Like you need to know that it's a bodice ripper in the time period. But yeah,
But it's
I would.
not like too, I hate to use the term rapey, but it's not too, like, it's not too, there's not really any assault. Like, Anthony actually does not want to take any of his women that way. So,
Yeah, except
I
for
would,
the whole railing thing, he really actually takes care of her a lot of the
yeah,
time. So,
well, he
mhm.
told her to hang
Like
on, you know?
robbery and like the highway robbery thing that was like pretty awesome. And he like was punching and like beating up Jordy. I'm like, okay,
Well, he's like,
okay.
yeah, just, give him some money and they'll go away in 5 minutes. And she's like, what? You're not going to fight? He's like, no, why would
Like,
I do that?
I
Then somebody
brought
gets,
all the money with me. I didn't know it. Hey, girl, you are due to being an heiress, I'm guessing.
he's like, calm down. Okay. Like, this will be over in 5 minutes. All right. Just let them take their stuff and go. That was a great scene. That was just a great scene.
He's like, why did you bring that all with you? And so he's like sitting there and like trying to cover it on the other side, like all of her money that she brought with her. And then
Mhm.
he's like, okay, move down your body. Distract them with the girls, okay?
You are a woman. Show boobs.
So booms. They'll be distracted by you because she's obviously like this is where like she was always very the description is like she's just very beautiful and has like red hair and everything like that. So she just everywhere she goes, people recognize her beauty. So I'm like, that's also like the typical thing is like, women were judged by their beauty, which they still
Looks.
are, I think, today, but their looks.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but yeah, definitely. But it was like such a that was like their one of their things that was it currency, really, if you think about it.
Yeah. So
But
one
yeah.
thing they had to
Yeah.
bargain with. Hmm.
Yeah. But I just think it's funny that he's like but
And
I
he like
love it.
very reluctantly goes to fight them. Okay.
I was like,
Like,
okay, fine.
I guess if I have to. Yeah,
But yeah, the
I
guy
would
ducks
honestly
his head
recommend
in
this
and he
too.
just yeah, he has her distracted and so he punches the guy out, knocks him out cold, I think is what he does.
Because he's
So
Anthony.
yes,
I
yes,
I
yes.
definitely would recommend this too. Like I think it's a really good one. Like I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Aside from the first 30% when I was like messaging you going, did I miss something?
I was like, oh gosh, it took me like a day. Like once I was into it, like it took me a day to read it. But I'm like, it took me so long to get to like the 20% or so to like, I'm like, okay, feel
You
like this
like
is
to get your
dragging.
bearings almost. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
then after that, like it really picks up. Like
Yeah,
I was really liking it. And the audiobooks are great too. Like I think they're very well done. And they're cheeky.
yeah,
They're like just the narrator.
yeah. I started in about the 20% dual doing it with the audiobook and reading at the same time. So like that helped it a little faster, I think, as well.
I'm gonna do that with the next one
Tinder
since I
Rogue.
have Gentle Rogue. Oh, over here.
Tinder
I'm
Rogue. There we go.
excited.
Yeah, I got the one. Yeah.
Ah,
This is a republished one they did. They didn't. I don't. They didn't do the other ones for some reason, but this is
yeah.
the most
Why just
popular
this
one,
one?
I think.
Is this one the most popular?
Yeah, I think it's one of her most popular ones of this series.
Yeah.
Although I think I remember loving the A Loving Scoundrel one in the series, so I'm looking forward to
Mm.
that one too. But
Oh,
yeah, really looking forward to this one.
I think that one is one I just got. I don't remember. It's somewhere here. I got that book from my coworker. She reads or she read Joanna Lindsey back in the 90s and 80s and
Yeah.
she's gonna give me more, I guess, but she just has to clean out her shed. It's like tucked in somewhere in a box. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to read those.
Yeah, this is like the paperback max feeling one, but I like that it's floppy. Like
I actually
I
really liked
don't like
that
that
size, even though they don't match anything like that. I to actually read them, I like that
it's
size.
easier.
Yeah.
Although I think there's a way to make some of these are can be floppy, I think.
Mhm.
It's just how tight they have the binding, I think, on it. But
Well, this one's pretty,
yeah.
I mean, it's floppy now. It's not the
right?
greatest condition, but it's together. So
405.
yeah, I really liked it.
Oh
Do
wait,
you have
I
any other?
did remember. Yes, random thought at the end of the book for Anthony. I like how like he wanted to make sure that she like confesses or whatever her love and whatever and like everything that she actually forgave him, and he wanted to make sure that that was true before she had read James's letter to her that Jeremy dropped off on her vanity. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a little test
And that's the letter where he's
for
like,
them
no,
to
he didn't cheat on you. He just came. That was the girl was my
actually
girl.
with
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
The bad name for a woman was my girl instead. You know?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then that's also where she finds out that he's rich. Like she doesn't find any of that out until the end, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah, like he just tells like, no, I that's why it proves to her that like I married you for because I wanted to marry you, and
Yeah.
I didn't want anyone else after, once I
Because
married.
you're pretty and you give me pants feelings. Like, let's just do this.
Yes.
Isn't that how it goes? Like, okay, you're rich, you're pretty, I'm pretty. Like, let's get this on. Like, we're good to go.
Give me. Oh my gosh, there's a term in the book that I read right now that like I'm not gonna say it on here, but it starts with the C stand.
Oh. Hmm.
I'm like, I never heard it referenced that way. Oh, you gave me a C stand. I'm like, okay.
Yes, yeah,
I guess
I know
that's what
what
it's
you're
called back
talking
then.
about. Like, whoa. That was
Okay.
a new one. That was a new one for me too. I was like, what? Oh,
That's a
okay.
new term.
I can definitely see why people love these books. Like the family is very Bridgerton, like, but a little bit more like
Mhm.
dashing and a little bit more brash. Like they're a little bit more brash and
Mhm.
less reserved.
Yeah, especially because they're it's mainly the four, is it the four men or five men that's usually, well, usually it's three of the uncles that you've been seeing the banter back and forth, and then Jeremy,
Hmm.
but yeah, it feels like they're, because it's just, which I guess with the three brothers for Bridgerton, theirs is a little more reserved, I think, and them giving each other a hard time. This one
Yeah.
is like full on like no holds barred on their language and
They
everything.
brawl, right? They
Probably
fight.
because James is a pirate, so it kind of makes sense.
Isn't it James and Anthony who fight in like the club when they're drinking or something like that? Like they fight, they fist
Yeah,
fight.
like a box. It's like it's a boxing club, yeah, and like no one wants to fight Anthony, and then especially didn't want to fight him when he's mad. But then James actually was okay with they actually fight.
James is a pirate.
Like, yeah, I'll pick you up.
That seems like such brother things to do. Not that I had brothers, but whatever. Boys.
Let's see if I had any other ones.
So is there anything you hated in this book?
I think the most thing I hated was the immaturity of the heroine, the whole miscommunication trope kind of thing, but at the same time, that realization that it's just a thing that would happen. But I like stronger heroines, so um, I I think I like the stronger heroines in that they will still even defy the current time period on just still going out and being assertive what they want. So that's why I like the stronger heroines in these books. But that's the only thing really for me that I didn't like.
I agree. And that heroin was the biggest downfall for me in this one. Like, and the fact that there was no real pirates, like no piratey things.
Yeah, that was the list.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Mhm. Which I think really, I think Johanna Lindsey was the only author that I remember having a lot of pirate books that I read. 'Cause I think there was Julie Garwood, but she does a lot of Highlander romances that I remember.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's really what I get into more, is trying to find some more of these pirate romances.
I know Kat Martin
Although,
has one, right?
yeah, well, yeah, and I guess Stacey Reed's going to be publishing one, I
Oh
guess,
yeah, yeah,
because I
yeah.
haven't seen one published since like the 2010s, I think.
I just read a good pirate romance, but it was fantasy and I really enjoyed it. But it was very piratey and not like dark or anything like that. It was more adventure and it was like a
The
pirate and a
steampunk
pirate
one?
hunter. What's that?
Was it like that steamy punk one? That was the
Um
sapphic romance.
no, it was called Beneath Black Sails by Claire Sager. So I've been reading like a ton of fantasy romance this month. But it was very piratey. Like they are on the seas going from port to port for the majority of the book, and he's trying to take her back to land because he's a pirate hunter and she's got a price on her head and she's gonna go be hanged. He's capturing her, but instead he falls in love with her, that type of thing. But yeah,
Was
it was pretty
this in the one, that one?
probably I can't see it. Oh yeah, yes, that one. That one.
Claire,
There's
Claire
like
Sager.
several
Okay.
books, so I was intrigued. It was fun
I
enough.
already had it as I already had it as my one to read 'cause I think I saw your Instagram stories
Oh
about
yeah,
it. I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
I
I'm gonna
really
put that one down to
liked it.
read.
But then for historical, I have an arc of one Rose Red that is Eric. What is it called? It's like a Christy Caldwell one. Um, because I'm just like apparently in my pirate moment. I can't remember what it's called. I know I have another arc of it. Oh, Christy Caldwell, The Heiress at Sea. Like the cover has them on a ship.
I love that. I
And
Christy.
that one's coming out soon. It was an arc on NetGalley, so I was like, I'm gonna read that soon.
I recently read like a YA one by Alexandra Bracken this month, which is like a fantasy, but it
Hmm.
starts off it has like a picture of like a ship in a bottle kind of a thing with like a city,
Oh,
New York
Passenger.
City skyline kind of thing, passenger, yeah. And
Hmm.
I'm like I've never heard, like obviously I'm like I'm just rediscovering all the young adult that I missed out on past couple decades. And I'm like, and they open up in the first like time period in on a ship. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, but
Oh,
definitely interesting. So,
yeah. I
but
need to
yeah,
find
so I'm like,
more
okay,
like pirate historical romances because I love them.
yeah, that's definitely on my goal this year is to try to read more of those that kind of
Yeah.
genre, subgenre.
Yep. Yep.
But I think that and second chance romances anytime, and so that's why I love Sea of Ruin. That was great.
Oh
That was by
yeah,
Ken Gomez.
that was
I read
fantastic.
that
That is a fantastic pirate romance. Dark, dark, but that was the
and
first dark
YG.
romance I read, actually. Very, very steamy.
Yeah, that was
Which,
my first time reading Sam Godwin. It was good.
yeah, me too. Me too. Is there any others like Johanna Lindsey that you can think of, like that are like this?
That are like, oops, can you still hear me?
I'm like, yeah, I
Oh,
can still hear you.
battery's dead. Okay.
I
Sorry,
know.
my battery.
I'm trying to think
Um,
of like piratey ones, and actually, I think
there was like a love only once, the a loving scoundrel one that was by her, but
this book right here, they are on a ship in the very beginning. She stows away on the ship, and she's like the
okay.
um whatever ship boy. But he's like, you haven't fooled me. It was really good. I really liked this one.
It's funny. I haven't, it's been so long since I read these, but I remember reading like a medieval one of hers, but it wasn't like pirate, but
I've
I
never
think
read
the
a
Mallory ones,
medieval. I don't think I've ever read medieval historical romances.
it
I know
was
there's
Julie Garwood, I think, and Johanna Lindsey have some, I
okay,
think. What am I finding out? That's weird. Okay.
okay. Maybe it's some of these other ones then that I
I
have.
know, I think Kathleen Woodowitz, there's a couple here that are The Wolf and the Dove, I think is medieval. So
Oh, this looks like I'm gonna have to look this one up. I've never heard of this one either. Elizabeth Boyle, Memoirs of a Scandalous Red Dress. I
ooh,
like that
there's this
title. Let me look that up. Scandalous Red Dress.
I'm also a big one of like time, like what is it? The Remembrance by Jude Deveraux. I just love
Mm.
like the time they go back in time, the hijinks of that.
Everyone says those are funny too,
Modern,
right? Jude Deveraux.
hmm
Hmm.
like the time going back in time. This one, like she was hypnotized to go back, so it's actually like a
Oh.
past life kind of a thing. So
Mm.
I like those. When a modern woman going like how like just the idea of like a person today going back.
Yeah. Being like,
Mm,
no. I don't think I
this
would want
next
to time travel back to that period, honestly. I'm
just
good.
just the bathroom conditions alone.
Right?
And having to go get hot water doesn't come out of the faucet.
I don't even like putting real pants on. How am I gonna put all those layers of clothes on? Like I can't do the like 4 or 5 petticoats. I can't even wear jeans, okay? Too uncomfortable.
Okay, okay, yeah, this looks interesting. I'm gonna add that to my want
I,
to
I
read for
I added that to my want to read for sure.
pirate. I have a tag for pirate romances on my Goodreads.
Oh,
Like whenever I'm in the mood.
you have a shelf? Do you have a pirate romance
Well,
shelf?
not a shelf, but a tag, so that I can just put those there on my tags and go, okay, I'm gonna. Is there any pirate romances, or do I
Oh,
own some pirate romances that I can talk
okay.
about?
I need to be better about like doing those things, like adding to my shelf and tagging and all those kind of things. I'm really bad at it.
I've been trying to do. I watched one from is it Ava reads romance or something like that on YouTube. Like they did like a booktube 101. And that's my problem. Is I always forget to write the reviews and things like that. And then by the time I remember, I'm like, I don't remember anything.
I have several reviews I need to write, and
I know.
including this
Yeah,
one for Tender Rebel. I'll
I'm gonna
get to
have to
it.
do that. Okay.
I liked it. Boom, 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 done. So not helpful. Anyways, do we have any last thoughts?
Mm, no, I don't think so. I'm
I
interested in reading. I'm really looking forward to reading this. That's all I'm really excited for March.
Yes, I am really enjoying reading these, whether I like them or not. They're a ride. Like I love the ride of it for
Hmm.
sure. So
Definitely.
the next one is Gentle Rogue, and I think we decided March 26th, right?
Yeah, same time. Yeah, Sunday, March 26th, 6 p.m. your time, which
Yeah.
is why am I blanking?
9 your time?
Pacific
What
time.
time
Oh
is
my,
it right
what?
now?
I put time zone, Pacific time zone, and 9 p.m. Eastern.
Set some hour in a month. No,
One of those
March
times.
March 26th, 6 p.m. in Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm
Yes.
holding you to it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna read physically and listen to the audiobooks. I have the audiobook too. So
Yeah, I
I
like
really
the
love that
dual.
all of
It's
these are on
yeah.
script.
Yeah, I got mine. I started reading, if it's not on Libby, I just signed up for Anyplay based off of Jen from the book Refugees reference,
Hmm.
recommendation. So I've been liking doing that. It only goes up to like 1.75 speed, which is just fine for me. Like that's as fast as I can actually process everything. But yeah, reading
What?
at the same time, plus it's nice to get the actual pronunciation of all these words on the names. So
Yes, the names. I always want to make sure, like, I like the audiobooks for that a lot of the times. Although I just learned that sometimes, like, the author isn't even consulted with some of these names. So I was like, oh, okay. We could all be
yeah,
saying
especially
it
for
wrong.
yeah, especially for fantasy. But I'm like, usually if you can tell with an English person when it's these books that you're like, okay, that's how the English pronounce it then.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Yep.
I'm just going to be calling it 3, 5 different things through the whole time while I'm reading it. It's going to stop me every time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think my dinner's almost done. So
Okay.
I think we can end it here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you
All
to
right.
everyone who popped in and who is watching on the replay. We'll see you again in a month with Gentle Rogue on Crystal's channel. We're going back to Crystal's
Yes.
channel on this one.
Hmm. We're going to be flip-flopping.
Flip flopping. All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful night and we'll see you later.
Bye.